It is DJ Ash Noble. It's MC Noble here. Welcome back to another live. Today, I thought we'd do something a little bit different, and I thought we would do a little bit of a different stream today. First, kind of like bored, and there was like there was nothing to really stream about, and I just kind of still feel a bit buzzed from the weekend. So I thought, you know what, I kind of want to stream. And then I come up with this little cool idea to do sort of like a stream and sort of talk about some of my other outside of music, because obviously this channel is dedicated to music. It's been music only. Apart from the time we did actually stream some video games on the channel, which I think you still can find some of them. I think you'll probably be able to find most of them. That was a little bit of a regret, streaming games on here, but to be fair, at the time I didn't have too bad of a following on the channel for the music side of things. So I thought maybe I'd do quite well streaming on this channel. But for those of you who do not know, may or may not know, who have a gaming YouTube channel as well called the NTV iPlayer. It's had so many different names over the years of me having the channel, and currently at the moment it's just a dead channel that I rarely post on. Now and again, I like have a little bit of an urge to go back to the channel and do something with it, but then I just kind of never really follow through. But I used to run the channel quite regular, and it was quite a big part of my life at one point. And then my main passion, which you all know, is the music, just kind of. Well, I wanted it to take over. I wanted to do more music wise. I wanted to do better music wise, and I thought that this other channel is taking up a lot of time that I could be dedicating onto music, and so I obviously did, and look at the outcome. But we're not really here to talk about music today, which might be quite hard for me because it's very rare I have a conversation that doesn't involve around it going back to music or something music related, which is, just me. I love music. It is like the main passion. But outside of music, there are other things that I do like, and there's a lot of things that I don't like. And there's a few passions of mine that I still kind of have, that I still enjoy. I just don't do them really as much as I used to do them, or I don't do them at all. And some of them I still like them, but I just never really want to or really see myself doing them. They were just things that I still enjoy. I just don't really want to follow through with them, just because, like I say, I do want to focus on the music, but maybe as a possible, like, just a little hobby in the future, just something that I just do for a bit of fun. That might maybe become a thing. So we'll talk about video games first off, because obviously we have done some streams on here regarding video games. Video games was a big passion of mine, and I still do love my video games, but I don't love them as much as I used to do. I kind of grew out of them a little bit, and video games for me now, they're just kind of like a now and again thing. So if I get the urge to play one, either if I'm bored and there's nothing else for me to do, or I'm lacking inspiration musically wise on FL Studio, or I've done a mix already and I feel like doing something a little different, then I will go and play video games. But at one point, I think the main time for me was when I got a PlayStation 4 for the first time, which I think was back in 2014. I think it might have been. I'd not long since moved into my grandparents, and I think something happened to my PlayStation 3, if I remember correctly, and I think it broke, if I remember right, or something happened to it. I think it broke, and I was like very sort of like shocked, and I was very like like at the same time because that PS3, I got that PS3. I think about a year after the PlayStations came out, or it might have been that same Christmas when they came out, and it was one of the the fat PS3s, like the first models that came out, and from having that PS3 from when I unwrapped it at Christmas, which I think was about 2007 to I think it was if I remember rightly, I think it was Christmas of 2008. And I was quite lucky that year because I'd had a TV to go with it as well. But the PlayStation lasted the whole time until about 2014. So I was very sort of like gutted when it went, but at the same time I was like, you know what, it's actually done well. Um, and I can't remember fully what happened to it. I don't know if it just stopped turning on or something, or there was just some initial fault with it. And at the time, the PS4s did not been out too long. I think they'd maybe been out about a year or something, or a year and a half or something. And I know we were sort of going down the option. Well, at the time, my nan was going down the options of encouraging me to get to go, to get a second-hand PlayStation 3, which at the time was all just a joke and a gimmick because she was actually getting me a PlayStation 4. Um, but at the time, I would have loved a PS4, but I was obviously at the time I was like, yeah, PS4s are quite dear. Like, I'd be very grateful with another PS3 because I loved my PS3. I loved I loved my Grand Theft Auto episodes from Liberty City, and at that time I was getting big into Minecraft as well. Um, so I got the PS4, and for me that's when gaming really opened up a new level because you could join chat parties with more than one person, and you could do all this cool stuff like broadcasting to YouTube, taking video clips, taking screenshots. There was even like a in sort of system program editor that you could edit your videos on, and it just opened up a lot of doors for me. As when I had a PS3, I wanted to put content up there on YouTube, but it was the old route of buying a capture card, and capture cards were the most cheapest thing on earth, and then you had to do so much more, sort of like faffing about, like getting the video off the capture card. Yeah, it was almost like having a camera taking pictures at a venue, and then you've got to take all the pictures off the camera, and every time you wanted to record something, it would be that capture card route. And I didn't have what you would really call a good PC at the time, or anything that would be really good for doing a lot of stuff. So at the time, I was very much, when the PS4 came, and you could do it all on the system. That was for me. That was a game changer. Just being able to tap a little button on your pad, and then a video would start recording, or you could just you know click a little button, add a little title in, and then you could just stream the game you was playing. So that was a good thing in itself. I met loads of great friends and did loads of great role plays. I was absolutely big on my gaming back then. I mean, I'd loved games all my life, but I think when I got this PS4, that was when my gaming experience obviously went obviously to the next level. And then there was obviously all the part drive dramas, the city building on Minecraft, which I'm still a big fan of, city building, and I'm still a big fan of like building, Lego worlds, and still a fan of Minecraft. I don't own a copy of it myself. I will get one at some point probably. But I did kind of like get bored of it because um I think initially I started playing Minecraft in 2012, and when it gets to about 2019, and you've sort of played it for about 8 years, like about 8 7 years, and and you built a house, you built a house, you built a shop, you built a shop, and I built so many city worlds that just for whatever reason never worked out, or they got griefed, or the save got corrupted. And then it was that big like letdown of everything you've lost, and then you've got that big, well, no, we're going to start a new one, and we're going to build it 10 times bigger, we're going to build it 10 times better. And then obviously, you do that, and then the whole sort of like part drive drama, the role playing, it kicked in. So gaming's been a mega part of my life, and then like I say, the music just wanted to. I just wanted the music to take over, and it got to a point for me where I thought I'm just sat here playing video games, not really getting me anywhere too well. I never really wanted to be like a big YouTuber. That wasn't my in thing. And even now I use YouTube and a lot of social for promoting my music, but I don't want to become just like a big social person. Like I want to be known for like gigging and performing on the stage. The sort of like social is just a way to sort of like promote myself. I don't want to sort of base my whole sort of like life upon like being a social media person. Like I know some people, stream and they get like hundreds of views for it, like and thousands of views, and they can get paid for it. And then they've got like websites online and sell T-shirts, and then that brings them revenue. And they do different things. I know the DJ Aurora D. I know she is doing like smashing it online at the moment. Like she's streaming on like more than one platform, and she's getting all these views in, and that I'm aware of. Like she's doing really well through the social media side of things, and she's doing all these TikToks and all these like dances, and promoting what she does. And I'm live at 7, and it'll be like a banging tune, and she'll be dancing to it. For me personally, that's just not my that's just not what I want to do personally. I don't want to become this like big TikTok person, and I've got nothing against people that want to use it, but just for me personally, I just think dancing around like that, for me it just looks cringy. Nothing against Aurora D for wanting to do that, or anybody else that does these TikToks, but they just don't interest me. I sort of heard bad things about the app itself when it came out, and it just sort of put me off. And I've just sort of thought, do you know what, I do all right, don't the way I'm doing. I get bookings and gigs, and that's what I want. I want to be out there in the crowd and meeting people face to face, rather than just being a face on the camera kind of thing. My sort of aims and dreams are like performing festival stages and nightclub stages, and then doing the sort of like commercial radio. That's kind of where I want to go, but obviously each to their own, and people are different. And so some people maybe didn't want to do social media, and then it just turned out doing well for them, and because it's doing so well, it's kind of got them to sort of, well, I actually enjoy it now. um you know um, yeah, but like with the gaming, I just wanted to like take the music obviously a little bit further. And like I say, I thought I'm just sat there playing video games when I could be doing something a bit more productive. And obviously that definitely paid off, sort of like cutting down on the video games, and not playing them as much, and not being online as much. And then obviously, I think 2020, I actually sold my original PS4 to my good friend Lee. I got rid of it because I just wasn't playing it. It was just collecting dust, and for me, it was just something that I just wasn't really that fussed about at the time. I was doing a lot of things musically wise, and I was learning FL Studio, and I'm still learning it now, obviously. But at the time, I was just games weren't really for me, and I just thought, what, I could have cash here for something that's just sat there that is actually worth something. So I gave it to my mate, and that was it. He took it, um, and that it was his, and he's still got it, but I don't think he plays it much himself. And then I did buy another PlayStation back, but I just kind of missed it now and again. And I thought, what? If anything, I can use it just to like watch YouTube and stuff, and I can just play a game like now and again if I'm bored, which is exactly what I do. But I've only got two games at the moment. But one game I am quite well. There's two games that I'm actually wanting to get actually. Well, there's three actually. The first one is that I would like to get Grand Theft Auto 5 back, because that game was, I always enjoyed that game. It wasn't as good as some of the other Grand Theft Autos, but you can't really, I mean, I love Grand Theft Auto 4 and the episodes from Liberty City, but you can't get them on the PS4. I do have a PS3 again now, but at the moment, I've got a broken controller, so I can't really play it. But like, yeah, that game for me was one of my favourites. But I did enjoy number five, and it has a nice map just to play around on, and I've completed that and just play around and stuff like that. So I would like to get that at some point. The second game that I'd like to get is I'd actually like to get the Mafia Trilogy Edition. Um, the first reason is actually for one, I'd like to play Mafia 1, because I think I played it before, like a very very long time ago, and I played obviously the original PS2 version, and I think, in all fairness, I played it like quite late on. I think I played it like, when I say recently, I think I played it sort of in the last sort of 5 years. I think it was maybe just that I found a copy in a second hand shop or something, and I think I just bought it to try it, or something like that. And I think just because the graphics were all that good, because I'm playing it sort of in an era when the graphics sort of like have got a lot better. I wasn't really used to it, and I thought, this actually ain't too good. But obviously, they went and remastered it, and they went and sort of like remade the Mafia 1. The second reason, Mafia 2 was one of my all-time favourite games. I just thought the graphics for the time for that game were just outstanding. And just some of the things you could do in the game just used to really blow me away. Like, you could just go into an apartment and you could turn the light on and off. You could get like a sandwich and a drink out the fridge, and stuff like that. And you could just do so much more. Like, again, you could take your cars into garages, and you could get them, customized, and you could get them repaired. You could go in a phone box, and you could bribe the police not to come after you if you was wanted. There was so many good, just good sort of like features about the game. And the storyline itself, I really enjoyed the story as well. The story to follow, about the guy, I forget his name, who you play. Was it Vito? Vito. About Vito coming out of the war, and then he gets sort of drawn into sort of like a mafia gang, and his mum passes away, and yeah, he just had a really really good story. And I also liked how the game sort of progressed. So like, you started off sort of like late summer, and then you kind of had like, winter came, and you did all these missions in the snow, and then you end up going inside and you do missions in prison, and then you come back out, and then there's more to the story, and then you end up moving house, and it gets set fire to, and it was just a really great storyline, and I always loved that game. And Mafia 3, I liked Mafia 3, but I was very disappointed compared to what Mafia 2 brought as opposed to what Mafia 3 gave us, which I thought it was a little bit of a letdown. The graphics were good. I thought the map was quite boring. I thought the map was quite small. I thought the storyline wasn't too bad, but it just lacked on things to do. It really did just feel like, the game just wasn't as good as, their previous title, Mafia 2, from 2K. So I was very disappointed, and I was a bit like gutted, because when Mafia 2 was so good, a bit like with a Grand Theft Auto, you think, well, they're gonna top the last one, aren't they? I was kind of thinking, well, they're gonna do the same with Mafia, aren't they? Mafia 3. If Mafia 2 is this good, God knows, imagine what Mafia 3 will be like. And then it was just a bit of a letdown. And then the other game that I would like to get is the Grand Theft Auto trilogy, the new one where they've just remastered the old titles, because San Andreas is and will always be my most favourite Grand Theft Auto. That was like my childhood game. I spent hours on there putting the jetpack cheating, going around the map and listening to SFUR radio station, along with K Rose, believe it or not, the country and western. The SFUR though for me was wicked, because it was all the sort of like acid house. So you had like the Marshall Jefferson. It was like a proper, like a rave station, and obviously the game was set sort of the early 90s, so late 80s, early 90s. I think the year was 1990 when the game was set, so all them tunes were still at the time. They were like the big rave tunes at the time, as we were coming into sort of like the era of the 90s rave. So it was an amazing game, and K-Rose just had some really catchy songs, and actually made me find love for country and western, believe it or not. But that was a really good game in itself. Vice City was just another amazing game. Grand Theft Auto 3 as well, I always enjoyed that one. That was the first Grand Theft Auto I ever played, and I remember just the map so well, and just playing around in it. And I remember starting on that bridge, and the car's on fire, and I think you broke out of prison or something, or something like that. And it was just absolutely fantastic. It was, and there was a massive gap in the bridge, and I like the old GTA's of like unlocking the islands and stuff like that. And it just really was just like a really good, really just nostalgia. So to be able to play them with a little bit of updates to them, and a little bit of better looking graphics, and maybe some, a little bit of better physics. I mean, people that have played them, they'll know what they're like, and I know some people have like run them down and said, they're not actually, as good as people thought they was gonna be. But for me, I just thought, well, do you know what? Like, I still fancy giving it a try. So, besides music, I have got a little bit of a love for the video games, believe it or not. The second sort of like passion of mine is one that not many people know about. It's a very old passion, and I don't really do much with it nowadays, but um, believe it or not, it's actually animation and stop frame animations. Now, sort of around 2010, 2011 time, me and my best friend at the time, we got like deeply into animation and stop frame animations, and we started making these animations, and started like stop frame animations with wrestling figures, and we started having a good sort of like trying to create like stop frame like wrestling matches, and then I got into like stop frame itself, and I got into like the PC side of stop frame, and Serif Draw Plus animation, creating animations, and just absolutely just really enjoying the vibe. of these, making these little stop frames, and then I joined like an animation club. I used to put animations up on YouTube as well on a very old channel that no longer exists. Then I had a fallout with my best friend, and he kind of ruined my animation career, spreading a load of hate and stuff. And then I just grew out of it. Like when I fell out with him, it like I like changed drastically. Because before that, I used to really love watching wrestling. I got right into wrestling, and then I just grew out of the wrestling. Not now. I mean, like I still like it now. It's I still do like it now. I just don't like it like I did. Like I like it, but I just don't have a passion for it like I used to do. And like I say, when I fell out with my best friend, it just sort of put me off, which was a little bit sort of a little bit gutting really, because the animation side of things, I've always still enjoyed it. I just never really hit any further, and I just never really sort of thought, about doing anything really with it. And then obviously the music again took over, so I just never really. But I've got Serif on my PC at the moment, and I have done a. I did do a little animation. Quite a while ago now. It was just a street going about its day. There was like cars passing by, a bus stopping at the bus stop, and people walking about, and then essentially a building just sets on fire. To cut the story short. It was just one of them really. And then I never really like properly ever finished it, but yeah, I've had a passion for animation for a lot of years. I would still like to do stuff with it, like just on the side, and I love like my role playing and things, and part driving in some sense was very similar, apart from you weren't really animating as such, but it was all almost like making a cartoon, making a creation. The part drive was kind of in that sector, so I did kind of enjoy it, and I would like to do something like that again. I would like to create like a little drama sketch or something, which would be like really good. Like a proper, like we did with Part Drive, like a proper drama sketch would be like a really fun thing to do. I'd love it personally. It'd be an amazing thing to do if I ever got the chance to do it again. You know, but yeah, again, like I say, music has just obviously taken over. I do apologise about the squeaky chair. I'm trying to get comfy. My legs are aching a bit. I think I'm still done in from the weekend. Um, and last but not least, I do have another passion. It's not a strong passion. It might not even be a passion. It might more just be like I like it, an interest. But it's actually motorbikes and motorbike racing, but it's probably mainly just motorbikes in itself. So for those of you who may or may not know, my dad's side of the family, they're very motorbike orientated. So my granddad actually raced around the TT. He did the Manx Grand Prix, I think from 1962 up until about 1994. When he had bad hips and he was struggling to get over the motorbike, to sit on it and things. But they've always been like massively motorbike orientated. TT's on, must listen to it on the radio. MotoGP's on the TV. Watch it. British Superbikes is on the telly. Watch it. Follow all the meetings. When they was quite a lot younger, they went to a lot of race meetings. My granddad was racing himself, so it was brought around like a motorbike orientated family. And I don't love motorbikes like they do. Music will always be my passion, but I do like bikes. And when I was 16, I did get a moped, which I used to bomb around on that little ped. I did a college course, a motorcycle maintenance college course at college. I did level 1. Never went back doors. It just wasn't really for me. And then I did get a 125. It was an NSR 125, which that thing was a beast. And then sadly, I ended up having to sell it due to Wonga issues at the time. I just sort of like come out of a job, and I didn't have a job at the time, and the bike was just sitting there, and it was money I'd been ripped off by an insurance company. Quite a longish story, but sitting here now, like, I definitely, like, that is one thing that I have sold that I do regret selling, because it was an absolute beast. And now, like, I've got some friends in Hull that ride motorbikes, and you just wish now that I could just jump back on that bike and ride with them. But unfortunately, it's not always the case. Unfortunately. But yeah, I've got a slight passion for bikes. I mean, I think I just like bikes in itself. I'm not. I find the racing a bit boring. Like, I don't sit there and watch it, and watch like a whole day of like race meeting on the telly, or I don't sit there with the radio on every day when the Manx is on. But I enjoy like going out on the back of a bike. I enjoy riding a bike. I used to be scared of bikes as a kid, like the noise, and I used to not dare go on the back of my dad's bike, because I thought, this is actually a big fast thing. And then I wouldn't go on it. I remember one day, I think it was a Christmas day, and I remember I was actually grounded at the time because I'd been quite naughty. But my main Christmas present, it took a little bit of setting up, and there was a few things we couldn't do. So unfortunately, my dad said, you can go out for a little ride on your moped, and he come for a little ride with me, and he tried to get me to go on the back of his bike, and I remember at the time I was just too scared and I wouldn't. And he went in a bit of a huff and said, "Fine, stick to your little ped then," something like that. And then I just sort of overcome my fear of him. And now I even go on the back of my mate Lee's bike, and my mum and everyone, they're like, be careful, and be all right. And even Lee himself, he's very cautious and very careful, and I don't blame him. But I am sat there on the bike sometimes thinking, go on, Lee, just open up that throttle, just go a little bit faster. I have overcome sort of like my fears of speed. Obviously, when I had my own bikes, I came off a couple of times. One of the times wasn't my fault. One of the other times was my fault. I did actually pull out of a junction without looking properly, and I did go into a car. Sadly, I just caught the side of a car. I ran into the back of a school teacher once. That wasn't my fault. That was actually her fault. She actually bent down. She'd gone to that I could see. She'd gone to light a cig up, and I think from what I can remember, she dropped the lighter on the floor. So she tried to pick the lighter up while still trying to drive. And then she looked up and she had to slam on, and then I had to slam on, and I ended up going into the back of her. She tried blaming me, wanted to go through the insurance and everything, which I just really didn't want to have to do that. And then obviously it was just a bad thing. And then I also got banned from taking my moped into school, and yeah, I actually rode my moped into the school site, and I was doing like skidding and just riding around in general upon the moped. And sadly, one of the teachers escorted me out of the school premises, told me not to ever ride my moped here again, and then I got like a warning from the police. I think it was a section 39 or something. And then one of my friends said, well, they can't stop you riding your bike to school, like just essentially park it park it somewhere away from school, like just up the road a bit, But I think I just walked anyway. I think I just started walking to school anyway. Um, you know, but yeah. So yeah, besides music, besides DJing, MCing, producing, radio presenting, I have got a few other little passions. I just don't maybe like really do anything with them as much as maybe I should do, or as much as maybe I'd like to do. I don't really know. I think as far as like the video games and like the Minecraft city building goes, I've got like an interest in like seeing what other people have built online. So I still enjoy, I enjoy watching them online. But then I think as far as like, like the animation side of things go, like I'd like to do something animation wise, like maybe in spare time at some point. And as far as bikes go, I would like to have my own motorbike again, be able to be free, be able to to be able to ride here, there, and everywhere. It'd be nice to be able to go somewhere and be able to have a little bit of a ride about, and stuff like that. It'd be a nice, cool thing to do. Hit the open roads and stuff. I'd be able to get to a few gigs as well if I had a bike, which should be a good thing, especially like if the likes of say the Layman, for example, wasn't available to be able to take me. That would be something that obviously could happen. It's just that some of the events that it's not always motorways, because you can't ride 125s on the motorway. That's like probably like the only sort of like gutting thing, if that makes sense. Like I think there would be a way, like say like for Leicester, I think there is a way you could go to Leicester and you could like mainly use like A roads. I think, like, I know obviously for a good amount of Leicester, you do go via, you can, if you go over the Humber Bridge, for example, like you can bypass like Louth, and you can go through Lincoln and stuff like that, and you can head towards Newark that way. But obviously, I think just when you first go over the Humber Bridge, you go down like a dual carriageway, and then you come to the M180, and that is just a tiny bit of motorway that you do have to take, unfortunately. There probably is a way to bypass that motorway itself, but I think it would be quite a tough one to do. Like I think you do just have to go on it like ever so slightly, which is obviously like a gutting thing. But as far as like say going to Scunthorpe, or if ever I was booked in Scarborough or Brid, like I could get to them kind of venues. That would be quite a cool thing. And I don't mean a party gig where I take on my gear. I mean more like if I'm DJing at an event, or if I'm MCing, that kind of thing. But I might just look into like if there is a way to get to Leicester like via just A roads, like without taking any motorway at all, because that would be quite a cool thing to do. And then I'm wondering if there's a way to get to Doncaster as well, without taking a motorway like from Hull. Like, because even if you go on the over the Humber Bridge, you've still got to take the M180, and then you've still got to come onto the M18. So I'm kind of wondering if there is actually a way that you could actually like go that would like sort of like cut out the motorway, if you like. It's something to look into. There probably is. I mean, the most probably 100% is it's just, it probably would maybe be like a longer way that would like take you through a load of little villages, and just be quite, compared to how quick the motorway would probably be, it would probably like add to your journey, and you probably have to like follow the side of a motorway for a bit, and then sort of head away from it and go through some towns and villages, and then maybe join up near the motorway at like a later point. So we'd have to see. But there you go. I just wondered, it was more like a wonder. But anyway, Hopefully, if you do watch this back, you've enjoyed it. It was just a little bit about some of my other interests outside of music. It was mainly because I was bored. But there you go. Make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to share, and we'll see you next time.